Do any of you guys have weeks where you went to the workshop pretty much every evening after work, worked on your projects, and at the end of the week, it feels like you got nothing to show for it? Sunday afternoon, after I finished and uploaded last week's video, I really felt like just making something simple. So, off to the woodshop. I've got a top secret project which needs a casting, so I need a casting flask. And I've got a couple of new ones which I made up a while ago, but unfortunately this one's way too small and this one's also too small. The wood I'll use is this. It's finest mystery wood from an old pallet. Good enough for this, it's just going to get burnt up over time. I'll just put some little grooves in it to hold the sand better. Next up is to rip it into two pieces. Just a little test cut to make sure I've got it in the middle, 18.5. So I need to move it over a wee bit. You know what I didn't think through? I need 8 pieces, not 4. Well, I can get 2 more off my offcut. Right, next up I'll just set up a stop block so that I can cut a rabbet in all of these to the same depth. I'm getting pretty fast at making up these flasks. It's pretty cool that the table saw makes a nice repeatable job of things. I'm just going to borrow the guide pins off this one for now. Well, these 2 extra bits are probably Douglas fir, I'm guessing, from the look of them. I thought this was some sort of pine, but it really isn't. It's got a horrible smell. I left the basement door open while I was working on these parts, and my wife came and complained about the smell. It was wafting upstairs. Monday, I got stuck into my Schaublin wiring. This says these are 5-volt relays. Unfortunately, I wired this board up with the input power, this line here, connected to my 24-volt rail, and I think I fried it. No contacts are working, nothing's happening. Why don't I make that normally closed? That is my relay to turn on the air. As soon as the machine goes on, that relay is closed, allowing air supply to the machine. So that should be a normally open relay, not a normally closed. I'll remark it and update my wiring diagram. So if I turn the machine on, it should get power. Okay, when I start linuxcnc, once I start the machine with the on button, alright, and we've got air. Sounds like we've got leaky air, but we've got air all the same. And air's back off again. Air on, air off, air on, air off. How cool is that? Tuesday, I decided that the watering system I made up with the Aduino looks like crap. Since I didn't like the messy sort of setup with all bunch of wires and stuff that I've done so far, I decided to redo this with solid cord wire. Now as soon as my perf boards arrive, I'll transfer all of this over onto a perf board. Wednesday, we had a family event, so I didn't get down to the workshop. Thursday, I continued wiring on the Schaublin. And now we get to the bit which I need your help with. I've been working on the spindle, bringing everything under linuxcnc control. Before I can implement a control algorithm, I need all of the pneumatic and electrical controls working. Here's engaging the back gear. And commanding the gearbox back into the high-speed position. Now the second element controlling the spindle speed is the VFD's frequency input. So I can command different frequencies using the S word. That also works. So that's 2 out of 3 spindle control elements brought under linuxcnc control. The constant velocity drive, or variator as it's called in German, is the third element. And here I've got a problem. It's controlled by these 2 relays here. 1K5 to speed up and 1K4 to slow down. Now because I ran out of 24 volt outputs on my Mesa I/O card, I added a 5 volt relay board. This controls the coils of those big relays with physical inhibits through the other direction's auxiliary contacts and also inhibited through the variator's end stops. I've set up my ladder logic to command 1 second of variator speed change each time it gets a signal. And here's my problem. Each time one of those contactors' coil breaks, I get this error. Joint 0 is the x-axis and it's using the Hull sensor home switch as a limit switch. If I use the contactor's manual button to actuate the variator, the behavior is the same as I release it. And that behavior is the same regardless of direction. So the surge from that coil breaking is tripping something. Now on those 2 coils I do have these modules which I thought were like flyback diodes to prevent that sort of surge going back through the system. So my question to the electricians out there is, how do I troubleshoot this? And how do I suppress this voltage spike? Where do I start? And what troubleshooting steps should I take? Now today's Friday, and since I've spent the whole week blowing away my New Year's resolution to only work on one project at a time, let's work on something completely different. My DoAll bandsaw is a 1957, should have a 2-speed gearbox as well as a variator. Now long-time viewers might remember that my saw ate too much sugar and didn't clean its teeth properly and got tooth decay. It's all secret, so keep it between us, but I think we're getting close to a solution for this. I'm pretty sure this 11 diametric pitch gear has a 14.5 pressure angle, but I do need to check the center distance of the two shafts just to make sure. I think the most accurate way to measure the shaft center distances will be to pull the gearbox out of the machine and measure across the bores. So let's do that. Well, my sister might have been right.
It's grubby.
Note to myself, when you're doing a big woodworking job, empty the dust trap. So this is the drive wheel. Ooh, it's got a fair bit of slop on its shaft. So this is the shaft I made for it. It's just a plain shaft right through the gearbox. Put a couple of basic bearings on it that jump at the gearbox effectively. Well, it looks like I need a new brush to take the gunge off the blade as well. As is typical, start doing one job, find 5 more. Oh wait, I finished this one. I wonder if that's the original boss or if it might have been sleeved before. It kind of looks original. You can tell from features that have worn out, been welded, remachined, worn out again, that this thing's definitely had a bit of a hard life. It was probably used for decades in heavy industrial shift work. Now, if I remember correctly, the belts are only tensioned through the motor's weight. So if I leave the whole motor up, I should be able to take the top belt off and the whole thing will fall down. There we go. Because I don't really want that getting chipped or damaged. Those are like Bakelite or phenolic, one of those sort of things. There's a chip in it already, probably quite easily damaged. Oh, in fact, is that a crack? Could well be. Oh yeah, it looks like somebody's put a bronze or brass ring to retain it because it started cracking. I'll just wind that variator down out of harm's way. Don't want it getting damaged. Throw a board across here just to retain the gearbox so it doesn't fall on it as I release it. Being an American machine, I get to break up my aircraft tools. Half inch. Nope. 9/16. Nope. The last owner said he bought the machine from Belgium. Judging by the French language on the job wheel, that sounds about right. And from the green colour and the age, I'm guessing it was military. There you have it, one empty gearbox. I didn't realise that the United States had already gone metric in 1957. I thought they made that change sometime later, like 1970s maybe? Did DoAlls have metric bearings originally? Or has this been modified? That was a fair bit of work just to get one single dimension, but I needed it. Now when Saturday came around, I put my bandsaw back together and then it was time to start editing this video. So what did I learn this week? Well, I'd like to think that I relearnt the lesson to not jump from project to project to project and just pick one thing and stick to it. but time will tell whether that's actually a lesson learned again. And by the way, I got this channel's #1 fan, Nico, to go looking into the statistics, and you know what he found? Dave in California, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. You've watched 8 videos on this channel and you still haven't subscribed. So get cracking. Thanks a lot for watching.